Okay, folks, I thought since some of you are gonna be left over the weekend, stuck at home, that maybe we could do something that might be kind of fun, easy. This is just regular old copy paper. We got a clicker pencil here, just run of the mill. I've got this just in case, pink eraser. Most people have these at home. And if you happen to have one of these, this is just a 6B pencil. So it's gonna be a lot softer and darker lead than your normal pencils, but honestly, you can do this whole thing with just a regular pencil or HB yellow pencil. So what we're gonna do today is just a regular eye. I wanted to show you guys how to make a realistic looking eye because they're so fun. So first of all, you want to do kind of like a lemon or football shape, and I'm going to do mine super big. And you always start off really soft. You want to sketch these out, and that's the same with every kind of drawing, I suppose. When you're feeling something out, you sketch really softly. This part here is our tear duct, so that's next to the nose. Whenever I have kids drawing faces, there's always somebody who is going to put the tear duct on the wrong side towards the ear, and that's just, yeah, try to remember not to do that. So you can look at your own eye as you do this. It might be helpful, but as a general rule, the upper lid curves a little more than the bottom lid. So if it were a lemon or a football, just imagine it as being a little deflated, and that might help. All right, so once you have something that you like, it could be a little bit taller towards the side of the tear duct. Some people, it's a little higher here and then it goes down from there. Honestly, the first time you're just feeling this out. Once you have it about how you like it, put in the rest of the tear duct, which is just putting in the eyeball, actually. You want to be able to imagine that the whole eyeball is behind here and the skin is just resting on top of it. Next step, and this is just super simple, think of it as doing parentheses. And this is going to create the outside of our eye. A lot of people don't realize that you don't see, okay, here's going to be, this is like my no-no. They're going to do this, right? They're going to go and draw their eye like that. No, because the only time we see the top and the bottom both is when somebody's really surprised. Otherwise, the top of the colored part of the eye, the iris, is going to be covered by the top lid. And sometimes when I'm teaching, especially for younger kids that want a more simplified thing, I'll just say, draw a shape here and draw that shape there. Don't even try to draw the bottom. But since you guys can replay this over and over again, let's just do it this way. All right, now we've got that set in. Next step, before you get any further, you want to plan out where your highlights are going to be, because our eyes are wet and they reflect light, but they're not going to reflect light where the eyelashes are blocking it. So you kind of picture like the eyelashes are sitting here and the light's coming from here. So usually there's no light gleaming on your eyes from about here to here, because your eyelashes are just kind of doing a shadow there, right? So what we're going to do is put one a little lower. It can be big, it can be small, it can be a circle. It can also have more than one, but usually, gosh, I'd say if if you do more than 2, it starts looking like they're gonna cry. So, yeah, you don't really want that. All right, so I've planned in, these are gonna be my white spots where I am not going to color in at all. So you've gotta plan that first. Next step, you're gonna draw the pupil. If you draw it too small, it's gonna look like they're in a bright light and their pupil has contracted, and it's actually kind of unnerving for people. If you do it too big, like say around here, it's going to look really dilated and unnatural, because it's pretty rare that you would see somebody with their pupil dilated that much. So what we try to opt for is something in the middle, and there's a lot of middle space here. So I would say you're going to draw your circle, and sometimes it's hard for people to draw a circle, so you just sketch it out lightly. Whole beginning stage of this stuff is done lightly. Don't do anything dark yet. You get it in, and then you decide if you like it, and then you start using either a darker pencil or pushing down really hard with a normal pencil. Okay, I guess that's all right. So I've got that. Now here are the steps that I love that are gonna make it look super realistic. It's all to do with shadows, right? So we have the eyelashes here. You're going to do this darker. Make it a thicker line. Once again, if you have a mirror handy, look at your own eye and you can start doing your own eye shape. Now, under our no, I want you to recognize that we do not do, this is why I love clicker pens, we do not do our eyelashes like this, right? If eyelashes were like that in real life, it would be super painful. So don't do that. Instead, you'll notice this if you look in the mirror, eyelashes tend to go out to the side, the opposite side of the tear duct. And you only need just a few. You don't want to take away from the beauty of the rest of the eye, and we're going to be putting in the fold in the eye next. That's pretty easy. Almost the same distance as here. So if you're like, okay, it's that much there, so I'm going to do that much there. If that makes any sense. The fold just follows the same curve that the eyelashes do. And often it goes just a little past the meeting point right there. It'll go just out. I like to do a little bit thicker here. Maybe some shading. It all depends on the kind of eye you have. My eye isn't like this. My eyelid comes all the way down. So I like doing people's eyes that are like this. All right. Now the fun part, the shading. Okay, so we know this is going to be the darkest. This is the colored area, the iris. And what I'm going to do is more like someone with a lighter colored eye. Then you'll get the idea of what I'm going for. So first, I darken the edges, and I'm even going to make the line a little thicker towards the top to create the illusion of a shadow. Things are going to be darker at the top where those eyelashes are casting a shadow. Next, let's do this part, the iris. And you can even do it, there's a bunch of different ways actually to do it. You can do it with the lines showing like that. And then you get lighter. So you're not pressing down as hard as you come towards the bottom. but you are pressing hard at the top. And don't worry, it's not going to stay this messy. It's going to get shaded in as well. Okay, now let's do some shading. What I'm doing is as I get down, I get lighter and lighter. Press down harder at the top. If you want, you can always stay in the same lines going around. It doesn't matter as much to me, but some people really like to, keep their lines like that. When you look at somebody with light eyes, you actually do see some lines like that. You can put some strong ones in. So there's also kind of the feeling where it's rounded. You can make it a little bit darker. See how the light's coming from here, so I'm actually making it a little bit darker around the edges. That way I'll also emphasize these white reflections. Okay, now because these are casting a shadow, they're also going to cast a shadow even on the whites of the eye, but this we do very softly. With more fine strokes. And then we can finally make this a little more refined. There's a bit of a bump there often. And I usually don't do the bottom eyelashes. Most artists don't. This is going to be a little bit darker. It's going to have some shine spots in it too because it's a little wet. So you can just kind of you always do everything lightly first. Also, use your erasers. Your erasers are awesome. And as an art teacher, I just gotta say, the more I hear my students using their erasers, the better I know the finished product is going to be. Because each and every time you erase, you're getting rid of something that was a mistake perhaps, and you're doing something slightly better each time. So if you're not erasing, that means you're probably not improving. You're letting mistakes go and not care about them. So I like to hear people erasing and improving each time. I know I do. I mean, it happens to me all the time. I've been doing this for a long time. Okay, so now let's get this pupil in. It's going to be super dark. Ooh. And I'm doing all this really quickly in the hopes that you guys won't be bored. But I hope you'll take a good amount of time to do yours. Not rush so much. Because this is a really fun thing to do. And once you've got it down, you can just do it anywhere. It's so great. In meetings, in classes, whatever. You can just experiment with reflections. I've seen ones where there's a reflection of a cityscape in the eye. Oh, super cool. So just have fun with it. And then once you start doing colors, that's just really fun too. All right, I think I'm gonna darken this a little bit more. I want it to be kind of a more dramatic. And I'm also going to show you what it's like using one of the other pencils. If you get to the point where your hand gets really dark from smearing all over, what I usually do is just take spare paper and you keep it with you like that to keep you from rubbing all over. Try to resist rubbing this. It always ends up uneven. And it's kind of the sign of an amateur, so just something to note for future reference. Cross-hatching is always cool. That's when you go one direction and then the other. Okay. All right. So maybe we'll even add a little bit of shadow here. Very lightly. If I make my cross hatches too dark and far apart, it might look like hairs growing into the eye. And that wouldn't look too good, would it? Okay, now let me just show you real quick how different it is with something like a 6B or even a 3 or 4 bead. If you happen to have one of those hanging around, they are just super dark and they kind of punch a hole in the light. I don't know if you can see that, but they're also very soft lead, so they get worn down pretty quickly. There we go. And from here you can just play with it. You can make a bigger kind of eyelashes, more shadows. The more shadowed you would make it out here, the whiter this part would look. You can make this darker should you want. And I think I might do some more classes if I can find the time. Let me know what you guys would like to learn. If I can figure out a way to do it, I will try and post it. Okay, I think that's our finished thing, so yay! Now you do it, okay? Oh my goodness.